What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Pest Control Playbook. My name is Jarrell Solis. First and foremost, thank you so much for tuning in, listening to what we have to say. Our only goal here with the channel is to try to bring you guys some value. That way you can use that and grow your pest control or home service businesses today. With that all being said, I am super pumped because we have guest number 2 on today. And as you can see, I've got the ambiance going with the pest control, with the channel. So I'm excited to have him on. And out of San Angelo in the Abilene area, I've got Daniel Musquiz from NexTexch Pest Control. Daniel has been in the industry for over 20 years. He started his business going on 5 years, so he's about to celebrate 5 years in entrepreneurship and ownership here in February. He's grown to well over 6 figures. He's looking to make 300 and 350,000 this year. So I've talked to him a few times. He's a great guy. He's got a lot of information. I'm really excited. So without any more introduction, Daniel, thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I really appreciate you giving me a shout and give me a chance to say hi and stuff.
Yeah, man, of course. I know you and I spoke for the very first time. I mean, it must have been a year, maybe a year and a half ago, and you
Yeah.
happened to be in Round Rock, and you had said something on social media about Round Rock. I don't know. Me and you just randomly connected because that's where we used to live before moving to Temple. But we talked, and I thought, man, this guy just has a lot of great information. Again, you've got a lot of experience. So I knew from the very first time that we spoke that you were someone that I wanted to connect with, and I'm glad we have, man. I'm really, I think the listeners and the viewers are going to be able to get a lot of value from me talking to you today.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I was out there just for my wife's work, and I ended up just kind of wanting to touch base with people, and I was supposed to meet up with somebody, and they didn't fall through. So, I was like, just kind of, so I got on the phone call and I just talked to you for about an hour, and we just chit chatted and kind of, came across where we're at today, just, friendship and in the same business and almost the same goal in life.
Oh, 100%. And like I've told people in the past, and I was talking to Jason yesterday, I said, that's the great thing about the industry, especially nowadays. A lot of us are friends, even the ones that are competitors, man. We're just all connecting, and a rising tide lifts all ships is something that is one of those quotes that I love. And it's cool to be able to connect with other pest control owners and people in the industry. And even though we're both, you know, we're not in the same area, we're still in Texas, man. I just love being able to connect. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it does. It's really good for you to be connected with people that are in your industry around you. Um, I have a great relationship with a guy here that he is not doing termites. So he gives me all his termite work, and I give him all the knowledge I can. I try to give him as much work as I can too, but he's a great guy, and we have a great relationship, and it seems to be working really good. But just overall, people in the industry have so much knowledge with the treatment itself, and if they are a entrepreneur, then they have so much knowledge on where you can go next on your individual place in business.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. That's one of the things I love about it. Well, man, yeah, you brought up some good points. I love that you partner with somebody in the area. That's super cool. And that's what it's all about. If you can't do it, that doesn't mean somebody I know that can't do it. So that's really cool. Um, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some of these interview questions that I sent you, man, because I know we can just, chop it up all day long, but I do want to be able to ask some of these questions. That way, we can, again, like I told you every time we talk, man, I'm trying to learn from you. So, I'm gonna jump right into it. And the very first question I have for you is, how did you first get into pest control, and then what made you to continue to pursue it as a career?
Yeah. So I was working for True Green Chemlon, and they were a sister company to Terminex. And you know, treating lawns is tough. It's a brew, hot. It's everything that you can imagine. Just being outside treating lawns all day, and most of the lawns were we live in West Texas, so or Texas. If you're not watering it, no matter what you're doing to that lawn, it's just gonna die. You know. So there's just no satisfaction to it. There was no, for me at least, I couldn't get past it. There was no future for me in that industry. So one day they were treating Terminex was treating our building, and got to talking to the guy, and I'm like, man, that'd be kind of cool, half air conditioner, half not, why not? Let's try it out. So I went and applied, and they hired me, and I just kind of went on, just kept on going. So Terminex is where I started.
Yeah, man. We joke about it how everybody just kind of falls into the industry. Nobody grows up wanting to be an exterminator. Well, most people. My son might be. He's one of the exceptions where he wants to do this, but most people it just falls into our lap. So, yeah, that again, that's the same story over and over. And now that you've been in, for
Yeah.
20 years, what is it about pest control that kept you in it? Because it's always really easy to fall into it, but a lot of people don't stay into it. But the ones who really do, they tend to love it for their own reasons. They're pretty similar, but I want to hear what what kept you in the pest control industry.
I really think it meeting new people. I like to meet new people, and I like to talk to people. I connect well with others. Always not haven't been the best at school, so my fallback was, hey, I'm gonna be the funny guy. I'm gonna be the charming person. As much as I could, just to try to get sales. Try to get the, to meet new people, just to try to get better at anything that I had going on. But customers, honestly, the customers that are in my area that are part of us, and some of them that were, with the old company that I was with, it's just some of the customers, man, they want to know you, and they want to get to know you, and they invite you into their home. They bring you water. Um, they give you old TVs. You know what I mean? It's just like I've been given so many things, um, for me and my family, in the time of need where I really needed it, and not wanted it. It's just been a really good feeling, and I just can't get away from helping other people now. How they've helped me in the past.
Yeah, I love that, brother. I really do. That's something that I'm always preaching, that I've been preaching from the get go is, connecting with customers, and I think that's pretty across the board when it comes to not even pest control, but just entrepreneurs is wanting to solve problems. But then when you get into home services like this, for a lot of pest control people, it's building those connections. So yeah, I'm right there with you, man. And that again, that typically leads to us starting our own businesses. Um,
Right.
and so now that you've had your business for, you're about to celebrate 5 years. Um, what were some of the things in the early years that you did that really helped you grow? Some people will say digital marketing and social media. Some people will say door knocking. Some will say BNIs and networking. What about you? What worked well for you in the beginning?
Yeah, man, great question. I think what helped me the most was, basically just going out and knocking doors. Getting in front of people. I think I pulled 50, 60 customers, in the first couple of months, just knocking doors, and I would schedule them, work them the next day, or work them that same day. and then from there, just building referral system from those customers. But I tried everything. I was one of the ones that had more time than money, so you know, I had to try to pull it out of somewhere, and do things that I, you know, uh, wasn't very comfortable with, like door knocking. I'm good at talking to people, but door knocking is a different animal, man. It can shatter your confidence pretty quick, So it was tough. I had to learn, YouTube University, learned how to talk to people on doors. It's not the same as just talking to people. Sometimes it's a little rough. But I also tried the BNI. Went to a couple of them, introduction ones. I joined the Chamber of Commerce here in town, and our small little areas around town. So just going to the meetups and networking events, the free ones, a lot of Facebook, anything free. That I was on it. Posting free, free Facebook stuff in our local community chats. We have a small business community chat here in Abilene, and there's hundreds of people, thousands of people on it that push their business every day or ask for recommendations, and you just got to be in front of people and try your hardest to get seen.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. There's a lot to unpack right there, man. But you're absolutely right. One thing that I've heard and I find true is that it's not the best product that wins; it's the best known product that wins. So, as good as we are at teching or selling, without that marketing and without people knowing who you are, connecting and getting your name out there, you're not going to have the chance to sell them and in turn service them. So it's all, I love that you bring some of that stuff up, how you did all of it. Um, One of the things that you mentioned about, and I thought was a good, something to hit on real quick was door knocking and servicing quick, either same day or within 24 hours. And that's something that I think that the listeners and everyone watching can take away, that, and really implement that in their business. Because sometimes we'll say, let me knock on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and then hopefully have enough sales or services to do later in the week. But you kind of said, do it either same day or within 24 hours. Is that something that you recommend, and why do you recommend that?
I think it's good to, one, you'll have your truck in the neighborhood. Hopefully you have a logo and a wrap of some sort. But if you're knocking in the neighborhood and then your truck is servicing that day or the next day, you're just going to have more eyeballs, or you're going to have a little bit more. Uh, People are going to see your truck, and they're going to remember that you knocked, and they're going to be like, okay, this guy is real. With all the scams and stuff going on these days, your reputation is probably the most important part of anything that you have going on. The money, the customers, if you build a bad reputation, it's really hard to come back from that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And part of that reputation and that brand awareness is having your truck wrapped, and you mentioned that. And honestly, because I know who's watching these videos, it's a lot of guys who are getting ready to start their pest control company or have recently just started, and in the first few months of their business. How important would you say having your truck wrapped is?
I would say it's pretty important to have something on your truck to uh, give yourself some kind of verifiable, so people can know who's going, and see who's coming, and see you on the road. It's really hard to build a brand and then you not being able to show the brand off. People want to know who they're doing business with. They want to know, what truck is coming to their house and what the truck looks like, or I think it's pretty important. I would just I would just say you're probably right off the back, if you go with a $5,000 wrap, you're not going to get that money as fast as you think you're going to get it. Just because you wrap a truck with all the bells and whistles, it doesn't come back that fast. Maybe in the long run, yeah, definitely. But I kind of thought myself like, hey, I'm gonna wrap this and I'm gonna spend this much and I'm gonna get 18,000 customers from it right off the back and people are gonna love me. But it doesn't always work that way. It comes slower, a lot slower.
Yeah, I got nothing to say, but I know that's right, man. It really does. And that, me personally, I've seen, because I follow you on Facebook and NexTech, and I've seen the clips in your videos, your little commercials, and I've seen your raps. And I mean, for those of you watching, I recommend you go look them up. NexTech out there in Abilene. I'm sorry, not San Angelo, but Abilene, because Daniel's got a really, really cool truck wrap, and his brand is really cool. I enjoy every time it comes across my feed. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I brought that up, man. Um,
No, that's awesome. And I'll tell you a quick story on that is we actually we got really lucky. So a lot of our early adoptions, something that I missed, I forgot to tell you, something that I tried to work out was a lot of trade when we got started. So I traded for the wrap. I think I did some work, and then he gave me a really big discount. I got a really great deal on the wrap just by asking, hey, you got anything? You got any pest control needs? Let's work a deal out. We traded a big radio station out here, so we're all over the radio here, and it doesn't cost us a dime. So because we trade the work, sometimes thinking outside of the box is probably going to be the best. And if you're already an entrepreneur, you're probably already thinking outside the box. So just keep on, just think a little different than conventional, and you'll probably work wonders with getting started.
That's absolute gold, man. You brought up a lot of really good points throughout this entire questioning process, but that's one thing that I love and that I completely agree on is just be creative, because so many people want to follow these step-by-step processes that some of the bigger companies might teach or, that you hear about, but there's the game is just to grow and figuring out how to
Right.
do it, and there's no, my Jason always says, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, and so you can really be creative, and you going out there and building those relationships and connecting with people on the radio, like that's a big time thing. People, believe it or not, they're listening to that stuff. And I know because I used to work in the oil field out west, you're listening to the radio in the
Hmm.
morning. So you're constantly in people's ears and in their heads. So I absolutely love that, man. That's something that I hope the listeners go back and re-listen to that, because that's something that not a lot of people are willing to do, is just ask and go out there and say, hey, you know, what can I do for you? And that is, you're building relationship. It's partnerships, but it is a you scratch my back, I scratch yours. But you're both helping each other out. Like it's not just
Right.
you getting something. It's hey, they're getting something as well, and just being creative like that is super super cool, man. I love that. That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Um, One of the next questions I was going to ask you was, what do you think that new owners struggle with the most, and what advice would you give them uh, to get past that? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. So I would imagine what I struggled with the most as a new entrepreneur owner, whatever you want to call it, it was trying to bring business into the door, and doing all of those extra steps to bring it in, the door knocking, the Facebooks, I think what's the hardest part is probably just getting those customers and treating them right. Finding out. going extra, above and beyond. If, like I said at the beginning, if you have more time than money, then treat that customer like it's your grandmother or your mother, and spend the extra minute and go into the attic and do an inspection. Make sure you don't see termites. Make sure there's no knock down the wasp nest. I mean, do everything that you can. Um, um, and really just try to take care of that one customer, because that one customer is going to lead to many more down the road. Um, but taking care of customers, getting the customer, once you get them, that's the hardest part. Taking care of them, and that's easy. You just kind of stick with it and do what you know, do the right thing, do what you know what to do. Always get that 5-star review at the end of the day, but yeah, I think probably the biggest challenge is just getting those customers and holding on to them, and um, getting that 5-star review and getting referrals. Try to go with that one customer. Try to go in different directions to uh, help yourself grow.
Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head with that one, man. Um, that's back to back times that I've heard in the interview we talk, and they're like, listen, getting the starting out and getting your uniforms and your cards and all that, that's the easy part, but going out there and hustling
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
just getting those customers, because so many times we start off in text or sales, and we're like, all right, we're going to start our business, and they're just going to start banging down the door because I am the best at what I do, and now I just going to kick my feet up, and I'm going to just start making millions. But in reality, man, getting the LLC and registering with the state and getting all that stuff is all great, and it's all part of the process that you need. But then at the end of the day, without any customers, you have no business. So getting out there to hustle is what I'm taking
Yeah.
away from that, because you did so much. But just getting out there and hustling and getting those customers, that's the name of the game. Just figure out a way to get those, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, just only because that customer can lead to so much extra. I've got a customer that called me for spiders, and then she's the property manager of an apartment complex. Now I land her and the apartment complex. So, or somebody from one of the commercial places that we do has issues at home. So now we have another customer because we're just trying to do everything the right way, trying to make sure we're taking care of everybody. And it's like a snowball. It just kind of goes down. But if you don't treat it right, it can mess you up. Your reputation, all that stuff. It's comes I guess it comes back to that. At the end of the day, you can be the best at something, but you just fall short in one little aspect, and it can mess you up.
Yeah, man. I completely agree with everything that you've said all day long. And real quick, I'm going to shift gears just a little bit because I think that you mentioned this, and then before we got on the call, you mentioned something, so it's pretty cool, I think. Um, and I just think that it's perfect for this channel for what I'm doing with pest control playbook. As far as this is for the little guys trying to grow, man. Because there's a bunch of great podcasts and YouTube channels out there, but this one's for the little guys and the owners that are out there grinding right now. And I bring that up because you talked about getting a customer and then finding out, maybe she has an apartment complex, and now you have that. And funny enough, for those of you who can't tell, Daniel's actually at a service right now at the apartment complex. He's in an empty apartment right now. So that just goes to show you everything that he's saying is 100% true. So I wanted to touch or bring that up because I thought that was cool. But
Yeah.
on that same note, on that same note, you're at an apartment complex. Do you have? I know we talked. Do you have many apartment complexes out there in Abilene?
Yeah, we do, man. We're doing 10 apartment complexes. We do a school here, a little school outside of town here. We do a couple of apartment complexes out of town. So we have a little big area that we cover. Not huge, but big enough to make sure that we have enough work when we're going other places. But we were pretty fortunate enough to land apartment complexes right away. Um, it, I always tell everybody it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. I mean, revenue is always there. The apartments are always there as long as you're taking care of them, of course. But all year during the slow times, you're always going to have apartments. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of making sure that you're doing all the right things again, and anybody in your business is doing the right things when they're talking to other people. So it's a hard account to judge and make sure that you're treating right. But like I said, I mean, we're used to it, and we just make sure that we knock them out and take care of them, and they bring us good revenue, and we service them when times are slow, so it's great, you know.
Yeah, no, it's that's you're right, man. Apartments, they can, and I've only got one apartment complex. And in the beginning, especially, it was tough. But once you start getting the hang of it and you're just used to it, it definitely they're good accounts as far as hey, it's steady business and pretty solid income. To the watchers and some of these people that are listening and watching right now, and I say this because so oftentimes we feel like the bigger companies, the Orkins and the Terminexes, they're the ones who, because they've been around so long and they're kind of that trusted expert, and the apartments are, go with them because they know about them. But it's not uncommon, and I've heard quite a bit over the past couple of years talking to different owners that they're like, yeah, I'm the little guy in town, but I've got these apartment complexes. What's something that these that everybody watching and listening, all these new pest control owners, can do to go out there and get some of those apartment complexes, because it is good revenue and it's going to keep you afloat. You're definitely going to make some good money. It's work, but if you're a real entrepreneur, you're willing to get it done. So again, what are some of the things that they
Right.
can do to get those apartments?
I would just stop by there and leave them a card, answer the phone when they call. I think that's probably the biggest thing that sets us apart is even though I try to make sure I have time for the family and everything, I have my phone on me 24 hours a day, and I answer the phone when somebody calls, or I get back with them. If I can't answer it, I'll send them a text just saying, hey, sorry, I'm with a customer. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And I think the communication on that is probably important. But I think that's one of the biggest things that helps me keep the apartments long term. Most of my apartments have been with me for 3 to 5 years already, as long as I've been in business. So it, if they always call with an issue, so it's almost having to put them in front and have a spot ready for them because they're gonna call. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, it's just one of the things that we have to do to keep them happy, and stay with us. But I would recommend just stopping by there, letting them know, hey, here's my phone, here's my personal number, this is my business. I've been in the business for this long. I can, when you're ready, I can give you a bid, or if you're ready now, I can give you a bid. Check back in with them in a couple of months, or ask them when their bid is up, and if they will be looking for anybody else. But communication, like I said, just getting out there and talking to them, stopping by, not being afraid to just stop by and say hi, introduce yourself. Ask your customers if they know anybody. And what's cool about it is it just comes up so natural in conversations when you're talking to people already, anyways. asking them how they're doing, and if it's a new customer, asking them how what kind of job they do or what they do for a living. Um, just might bring something up. Give them a card and let them know to touch base with you if anybody else is looking for anything.
Yeah, man, for sure. That's it, dude. That's all it is. Is just I try to preach that over and over, and I'm sure everyone else is tired of hearing me say it. So I'm glad someone else is. But it's all about just connecting with people, man. That's if you can connect with these people, it makes things so much easier because you know people buy from other people that they know, like, and trust. And so once you've built that relationship with them and they start to like you, then selling to them is cake. And that's how I landed my apartment complex as well. As I gave the lady a free piano. She happened to be the property manager for that apartment complex, and she even mentioned it. And I said, yeah, just let me know whenever your contract with the current company is up, and I'd love to place a bid. And you fast forward, because they had just renewed it. So you fast forward about 11 months, and
Yeah.
she remembers me still. She reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're getting ready to finish up with our contract. That we're not super happy with them. We're getting three bids, and I was able to put a bid in. And then I also had, my foot in the door because I was, she was going to be vouching for me, and saying, hey, he's a good guy, and." Again, because we had already built that small relationship by just doing something kind for them and just knowing them in
Right.
general. Um, so yeah, that's great information. I love that you said that because everyone watching, that's all you got to do is just introduce yourself, make people smile, make them like you, and after that, it's gonna be fishing in a barrel, man. It really
But
is.
yeah, absolutely. And there's been a couple of them, I think maybe two or three or maybe even four apartment complexes that we land from the manager moving over to another apartment, becoming a manager to a whole other apartment. And, we're there for them. We treat them right and we do the job. And they just come looking for us whenever they move. So we've landed a couple of them just like that, and and then it just kind of, they get to love you. They want you to do their new place, and it just kind of keeps on rolling. So I think that's probably like I said, just building that relationship, answering the phone, doing whatever if they got something they need to be done, and that's one thing I think everybody that's trying to get into the apartment complexes business for doing pest control is they need it now, because their motto is they need to get this unit out. They need to make their money by getting the unit turned. And if we're dragging our feet and we don't have a spot for them ready to go every day when they, you just lose trust a lot, and then if you can't take care of it, then they're gonna just find somebody else to do it. So I would recommend just if you're really thinking about getting into the commercial side of the apartment complexes, is always have a spot open that you can just make sure to get to them when they need you, um, if it's not your regular time, because they do call.
Yeah, I know that's right, and that's the case for a lot of the companies like that. With realtors and property managers, they're all really, really great. That's one thing that I will say is they're great. Those apartment complexes, the property managers, the realtors, they're great connections to have. Just understand that you're going to be working. They're going to need you, and they're going to need you pretty quick. So it's a really, really great way to grow your business, especially in the beginning, real quick when you don't have all the customers and you have the time. You can partner with all of them, and whenever they need you, you can get there pretty quick. Which is that's really what they're looking for is they want to save some money, but they need you quick. And so more than anything, if you can match what the other companies are doing, just get there quicker, you can win those people over.
Absolutely, just answer the phone. Answer the phone. That's all they want. So that's awesome.
Yeah, man, and then you kind of mentioned it earlier, and we're talking about that, just on that same subject of commercial work. I know that you do residential, and you have almost 500 customers, and with a good mix between residential and commercial. When people are starting out, how do you feel about doing commercial work? Because I mean, just to be completely transparent, me when I don't do a lot of commercial work, I came into the industry and started my own business, knowing that I really wanted to focus on residential. That's going to be my bread and butter. But again, for people trying to grow, residential and commercial is the way to go. What's something that they can do to go get commercial work, and who should they be looking for commercial work?
I kind of have a different way of thinking about that. Like, so the commercial really, there's a part for commercial in every business, only because you have bad weather days, you have, winter, and if you're in any kind of pest control or lawn care or anything like that, winter is going to slow down a little bit. So the commercial work really comes back and fills that void through those slow times. And if we get rained out one day, I just move all the commercial to that one day, and we're back at it. You know what I mean? So it's important to kind of have a little bit of both commercial and residential. I think it's really helped me kind of just go and get bigger, as we go every day. Just and I just don't like turning people down, and because you know, if they own a restaurant, they tell me their cousin uses me, and they recommended me, and I feel that's real important, because if I don't use those recommendations, no matter who they are, then those referrals, that free customer, or what they call is the free customer, when you get a referral, it's just it's gold, no matter if it's commercial or residential or one time. I just, if it's a one time service, I do get, I'll take as many one time services. I know it's not that probably not the best thing for um, uh, profits and margins and stuff, but I think the 5-star review is more important than the revenue of a one time. So we make sure to get that 5-star review, and we take the revenue from that one time. But now we have the email address, we have the address we can send a postcard to. We can do follow-ups to that customer. If termite works or bed bug work comes up, we're the first one they're going to call. So there's a lot more to that one-time customer than people are giving credit to. Because there's multiple things you can do for that one time.
For sure, man. You brought up a bunch of great points, from getting their information, because being able to sell and market to them later on and throughout the different times. I mean, if you only do it, and for those of you listening, getting their email, their first name, their last name, and their email is so critical, because say you only do marketing, or email campaigns once a year, or I'm sorry, once a season. Either way, that's four emails that they're going to receive from you, rodents in the winter, mosquitoes in
Hmm.
the spring, termites, and all that good stuff. So it's four more opportunities every year for every customer or potential customer. So I love that you mentioned that. One thing that I also love that you mentioned is just doing the one times. Like, hey, listen, they're not as valuable as recurring services. We can all agree. We all know that. But where the recurring services really matter is whenever you start trying to sell your business and everything. That's how you get those higher multiples. Right now, in the beginning, you're 6 months into your pest control journey. You're even 6 years. It's still brand new. Do those one times. It's cash flow. It might not be a lot, but hey, it's more than what you have right now. So
Right.
absolutely do those one times. And then the last thing that I really wanted to touch on that you just mentioned was getting those reviews. And for anybody who watches this channel, they know that I preach getting those 5-star reviews. It's invaluable because, like I say all the time, people are going online, whether it's Amazon, restaurants, stores, anything. The first thing that they do is they look at those reviews. And if you have a 5-star rating, but there's only 7 reviews, they're not going to take you very, very serious. Whereas if you have, 500 reviews and you have a 4.5 or 4.6 and above, they trust that automatically. Like, you just, that trust factor is already built because there's so many people in the community, their neighbors, that have had the same issue and that trust you because you have that many reviews. And the biggest differentiator between those people that have a lot and those people who don't is they ask for those reviews. I'm big on that. That's what I'm always saying. Hey, listen, do a 5-star service, do a great job like you had mentioned, build a great relationship with that customer, and then again, do a great job asking for a 5-star review. There's no problem with it at all. You feel good about it because you know that you've given them a 5-star experience, not just a service, but a 5-star experience, every interaction with you. So getting those reviews, man, just quick, just touch on that. How many reviews do you have? I'm just curious. And what would you say on that note of getting Google reviews?
Yeah, man. So I think we have about 120, 130 review 5-star reviews. Um, we're rated 5-star right now on Google, and I think that's probably number one most important thing to kind of think about, worry about, or put it at the highest, put it up there with the highest stuff that you got going on, because once you're right, once those stars start going down, people don't trust you and they won't call. And if they don't call, then you don't work. So it kind of all goes into that. So the 5-star review, it's important. It's, you got to ask for it. You got to do good work. And you got to just kind of monitor it and make sure that you're on the right track to getting what you need out of that customer. Especially the one times. I mean, that's like I said, going back to that one-time services. I don't even the one times I don't even think about it as a revenue or anything else except for the 5-star in the email. That's all I'm doing one times for at this point. Revenue's fine. I'm okay. It does what it does, but that 5-star review, I would rather take care of that customer, get the email, get the 5-star review, and charge them that one-time service and move on. And hopefully later on they call me back because I just did an awesome job, and so
Yeah, no, I do the exact same thing, man. I'm not trying to, say, you're just giving great advice, and I do that exact same thing. For example, yesterday there was a lady in the neighborhood who was asking about fire ants. I reached out and said, "Listen, I'll come over there and do them. It's going to take me no time to go. Just put a little bit of fire ant bait. All I ask is that you leave me." I didn't even charge her. I said, "Hey, all I ask is for a 5-star review, and then that in the future, if you ever decide to want pest control, that you think of me first." And they're super, they're more than happy to do both of those things. And I've gotten plenty
yeah.
of customers from doing that. And those reviews, again, that $99 that you're gonna charge, and not to say you don't charge it or anything, but it's very, very minute in the grand scheme of whenever you go over there and you see 120 reviews. And I say that because to all the owner operators, those getting started, one thing that I've noticed in my journey, and I've only been going, for almost 3 years, 2.5 years, is that people do want to work with local pest control companies or local services, but they also trust those reviews. So the best thing that you all can do is get at least 100 reviews, right? Because then you can compete with the Orkins and the Terminexes that are close to your area. You know, you might not rank as high, but those customers, and I see this all the time, they'll scroll a little bit to find a local company that has good reviews. And
Hmm.
I always ask where they heard it or how they found me. And they say, "Oh, I just was on Google and I saw your reviews and I wanted to use local, and so that's why I got the phone call."
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I think the used local is probably the best thing that a local small business can benefit from in pest control. It's just, people wanna spend their money local. Um, and it goes back to answering the phone, communication. Just because they want to use local, sometimes the organs at the Terminix don't answer the phone and can't come to see them until 2 weeks. And we get a lot of customers that way. It's like, hey, I'm with this person, but I can't even get anybody to come out. Can you come see me today or tomorrow or next week? When's the first day? I'm like, I'm on my way already. What's the address? Let me finish this stop, and I'll head your way. We'll figure it out. And that customer's been with me for 5 years, now. So that customer is a lifetime customer just by going to take care of their issues right away. And another thing, something that I took from Terminix. So Terminix is not the big bad wolf out there for everybody listening. It's a great way. It's a great place to start. They do a lot of training. They have a lot of systems in place for you to succeed. But that customer pays you, and then when they call for extra services is where you make your money. So get those extras, like treat them as golds or the free services or whatever the next service. If they're calling to have a problem, I would drop everything, take care of that customer, and then resume what you got going on. So you're gonna earn lifetime customers by doing that.
I couldn't agree anymore, man. I did exactly that today. I had somebody, and I'm not trying to you just bring up so many great points. And today I had a customer send me a picture of her son who got bit. And so I said, yeah, I can be there. And I'm on my way. And being willing to do that in the beginning, you guys, that's a big one because he's right. The Orkins and the Terminexes and some of these bigger companies, they'll say, hey, we can't be there. We're so booked out and we can't be there for a couple weeks. Being willing to be there, and I say that all the time, is yeah, no, just send me the address and I'll be there within the next couple hours. You're gonna get that customer. Like, they're not gonna call asking other people for quotes or anything like that. If you tell them, yeah, hey, it's gonna be this much, and they'll always say, when can you come? Say, I can be there I can be there in 2 hours, or I can be there in 30
Yeah.
minutes. That customer is going to be in love with the quick response because they're calling because they have an issue right now. Pest control, you're seeing a spider, a scorpion right now. You want to get it taken care of right now, not 2 weeks from now. So, just a tip for everybody watching: you get that phone call, get there as soon as you can. Great points, man.
Yeah, get over there and take care of it for sure, because they won't, they'll just go on to the next person. They're trying to get the person that can come out the fastest. At the end of the day, I understand that, but I would really try to find a method that works for you to really push those people to the front of the line. Any new people that are calling, or old people that are old customers that are having issues. Make those priorities in your business, and I bet you'll skyrocket, right away.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, just nothing but absolute gold, Daniel, for real. Well, hey man, I've taken a good bit of your time. I'm not going to take much more. I just have one last question before we wrap it all up. Um, for everybody who's starting out, man, what's the one thing that you tell them if they're going to work on one thing right now over, between now and then, in the busy season, spring, what's the one thing that you think that they should be doing to get their business going and to grow, to get those customers?
Yeah, I would just I would say grind, knock on every door that you can. Cloverleaf, any customers that are around your customer, for that day. Like I said, if you have more time than money, then just be doing those things. If you have more money than time, make sure that you're Google guaranteed. Make sure that you sign up for that program where they give you that green check mark and you can run some ads and that phone will start ringing like it's nobody's business. Just make sure to answer it. But just work hard. The days that you are working, just work work hard, do what you can, treat people right, do a good job, and I feel like you'll get what you want out of what you're looking for. So but just put your name out there, meet new people, shake hands, do everything that we've talked about today already. It's probably a good step. It's a good stepping stone to really just put yourself in the position to win. And I think you'll be just fine. Or just call Joel, Joel, and he'll get you on the right path, man.
All I'm going to do is send them your phone number, man. That way they can connect with you. Well, hey, Daniel,
Yeah,
man, I
no,
really do appreciate. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's awesome, man. You're doing a great job. I've been following you for a while. Just following everything you got to say, all your inspirational stuff that you're putting out there. You're just a real person that's living the life that's going through the motions like everybody else, man. I would say just don't get too enamored with people and the way they're living. Just do what you got to do and live how you want to live. I saw your video the other day. It was like, hey, just because it's working for somebody else doesn't mean it's the way you have to do it. So man, kudos to you and getting out there on this is my first interview actually, so I am I'm a little not very good at this, so I'm trying to push myself to be in front of this a little bit more and kind of get more comfortable in it. Just because you're doing such a great job. I want to follow in your footsteps.
Well, hey, man, that means the world to me. It really does. And you crush it, dude. I think I'm going to speak for everybody who listens and watches this. They're going to walk away, just with just some absolute gold information, man. So you absolutely crushed it. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and to let me interview you. The whole point of this channel is again to bring value to everybody and to get voices like yourself out there and heard, because again I know that everyone can learn, including myself, and that's all I want to do. So thank you so much. And real quick, Daniel, where can people find you if they wanted to reach out to you and ask you a couple questions? Where can they go to do that?
Yeah, we're at NexTech Pest Control everywhere. So Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I think we have a YouTube channel out there. It's not very exciting, so don't get excited about that. My phone number, you'll find it on everywhere. That's my number. That's the number I answer. That's the number that goes with me everywhere. Hey, I talk to people about everything, anywhere, anytime, man. So just shoot me a message, give me a call. If you have some questions, man, I don't mind just shooting it with you for a little talking shop and just answering a couple of questions like we did not too long ago. So
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate that, and everybody out there. Obviously, if you have any questions, I'm going to drop all the links to his Facebook, his website, and everything like that in the show notes. But man, Daniel, it really was a pleasure to be able to talk to you and get some great information. I know everybody's going to appreciate this, and we'll have let's follow up in a year, man, because this is the goal to try and grow this. And again, I want to follow up with you and see how far you can come in a year as well. So we'll reach
Heck
out
yeah,
again,
man.
and until then, man, well, just hit me up anytime. Everybody, Daniel Musquiz, he's the man. Thank you so much, brother, and have a great rest of the day. All right,
Hey, you too, buddy. Have a good one.
uh, take care.
Bye.
All right, you guys, that was Daniel Musquiz with NexTexch Pest Control out in Abilene, Texas. Obviously, you heard he has some really, really great and powerful information to provide. I've talked to him a few times, and as you can tell, he's just clearly the man. So you can feel free to reach out to him. Like I said, he's a great guy. He's going to love to connect with everybody else. I hope I'm doing all right. Hopefully, the guests are really good. Well, I think they're great. I'm learning from them, but hopefully you guys are appreciating and enjoying the videos. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you have anybody that you recommend to bring onto the show, do me a favor and drop their names in the comment section. If you'll also do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that share button, and let's all grow together. I'm really excited to do this and to see where this is going. So thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you next time on the Pest Control Playbook. Take care.